The city. And Eyewitness News reporter Alex Michelson is live in downtown LA with a look at both cases. Alex.
David, we'll start with the Skid Row incident. Multiple investigations are now underway looking at exactly what happened there. Chief Charlie Beck said based on the video that he saw before the violence began, those officers were acting, in his words, quote, compassionately. This cell phone video seen by millions online shows the LAPD in a struggle with a man on Skid Row. Officers tase him, then shoot him multiple times. Police said the video also shows that man reach for the gun of one of the officers.
Had the individual not grabbed the officer's pistols, certainly we would not be having this discussion.
This surveillance video being released today shows another angle. The LAPD says two officers were wearing body cameras at the time.
This will be one element that will strengthen the investigation, but it will not by itself be the sole determinant.
Does life matter? Does life have value? Yes, and that's why we're here today.
Community activists are gathering at the scene of the incident. They say the man killed was a transient, nicknamed Africa.
And the Lord's going to move on this city in a way you have never dreamed of. Let's get right now.
Yo pido justicia, que se le haga justicia.
Meanwhile, Lilia Abrego Figueroa is demanding justice for her son, Omar Abrego, who died after a confrontation with police. She's suing the LAPD in federal court for $25 million.
For Omar's family, this is an opportunity to get justice and to send the message that a badge is not a license to kill.
Police pulled over Abrego feet from his home, saying he was driving erratically. He died due to injuries sustained in a scuffle with officers.
They need to be in jail, and if we have our way, we'll make that happen.
The family also referenced Ezell Ford, killed by LAPD officers in the same neighborhood just days after Abrego died, and this latest death on Skid Row. Omar Abrego's autopsy showed that he was high on cocaine at the time of the incident, and that may have contributed to his erratic behavior. Omar Abrego's family disputes that autopsy, saying that he was a family man and that he never did drugs. As for the LAPD and those body cameras used in the Skid Row incident, those videos have not yet been released. Reporting live from downtown Los Angeles, Alex Michelson, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Alex, thank you. A police chase that lasted at least an hour came safely to an end in Etiwanda. The whole thing started in the Sun Valley area. The suspect was driving a stolen budget rental truck with a washing machine and other appliances in the back of the vehicle. Officers were able to slow the driver down with spike strips once he reached the 210 freeway in Rancho Cucamonga. The driver eventually came to a stop in Etiwanda. He sat in the cab of the truck for a while, but as officers slowly approached with a barking police dog, the man opened the door of the truck and surrendered. After another pursuit in West Covina, police arrest a man after he led them on a chase to Baldwin Park. The pursuit began just before 10 this morning. When patrolling officers ran the license plate of the vehicle, they learned it had been reported stolen. The officers tried to stop the vehicle, but the driver kept going and led them into the City of Industry area and Baldwin Park. About 20 minutes later, the driver stopped at Beth Avenue and Apple Street and took off on foot. Officers were able to arrest him a short time later.
Shock and disbelief after a popular teacher is found hanging in her classroom in Placentia. Investigators say it was suicide. Authorities say 31-year-old photography teacher Jillian Jacobson of Anaheim was in full cardiac arrest when she was found. Several of her students from first period found the classroom door locked, got another teacher to open it. Jacobson was found hanging from the ceiling.
I saw some kids who were sobbing, and I didn't have her, but I couldn't help but cry with them. You know, I gave some people some hugs and let them know that I know it's tough and that we can get through it.
Crisis counselors were brought in to help everyone. Classes will resume tomorrow, with the district saying it helps everyone to restore the usual schedule.
Tonight, a plea from the victim's family after a deadly hit and run. It happened Friday night at Satakoy Street and Lemp Avenue in North Hollywood. The driver is still at large. 57-year-old Melba Chapman was crossing the street when the driver of a white Toyota pickup truck hit her. Her loved ones are heartbroken.
He left her out there just like a dog or something. You know, she was a human being. She was a mother, she was a sister, and she was also a daughter. And it's not right for anybody to leave anybody out there like that. I don't care who it is.
Anyone with information on the case is urged to call 1-877-LAPD 24/7. That's 1-877-527-3247. Two South Hills high school teachers have resigned in connection with a sex scandal involving male students. In just a little over an hour, the school board will vote on a resignation agreement with teacher Melody Lippert. 38-year-old Lippert and 30-year-old Michelle Gorelli were arrested in January on suspicion of having sex with male students during a two-day camping trip in December. Gorelli resigned by letter late last week. Both of them will be arraigned on Wednesday on charges of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Lippert is accused of having sex with an 18-year-old student.
We've been soaked by rain, buried in snow, and at the beach, a dusting of hail. Eyewitness News Orange County reporter Greg Lee has the amazing images from Huntington Beach.
Incredible cell phone video from ABC7 Eyewitness Dodgy Morelos shows pea-sized hail falling on a balcony in Huntington Beach this morning.
It's really crazy. This never happens, and it's crazy.
Twitter user Sun Paddles Up posted this video of himself getting stuck in the hailfall on the pier. A quick winter storm blanketed the beaches in white, making many believe snow had fallen in Surf City, USA.
It's crazy. Never thought that I would ever see snow in Huntington Beach.
Because I saw a picture of just like white wonderland type snow and I just had to come.
Alex San Pietro drove from Long Beach to experience the weather with his friends. They took turns sledding, even snowboarding down a hill. Others built snowmen, even an occasional snowball fight. Corey Kahn took her daughter to see the rare sight.
It was very cool. I even sent pictures to my brother in North Carolina where they do get, snow on the beach, and now he can't. Now I'm not jealous of them anymore.
Photos and videos like these from Anne Marie Estrada and Instagram user Courtney Marie. Karen Enlow is visiting from Philadelphia. She knows this is nothing compared to the weather she's used to, but said it's helping her ease into the end of her trip.
We're going home to a lot of snow, so this is pretty wonderful.
But just as quick as it fell, the sun melted all the hail, ending the taste of winter on the beach, and the locals got back to the weather they know best.
It was the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. Yeah. Especially now because the sun's out and we can go surfing today.
Now, this is not official, but we've been told by several people the last time they remember this happening or have photos from it happening in Huntington Beach was in 1967. Reporting in Huntington Beach, Greg Lee, ABC7, Eyewitness News.
And in our local mountains, some are calling it a March miracle. This was the scene today at the Snow Valley Ski Resort near Big Bear after the latest storm dumped 14 inches of new snow. Skiers say it is some of the best snow all season after an unseasonably warm February. And now snowmaking operations can add to the new base of powder. Caltrans plows were clearing snow from Highway 330 this morning, but mountain roads were somewhat icy and chains were required at higher elevations.
And in Long Beach, ABC7 eyewitnesses sent in photos of all the rain and hail they were seeing. Air 7 HD was flying through the rain when it came down this morning before letting up in the early afternoon. But even with this latest storm, the experts say it's not enough. One climatologist says California's rainfall is down 40% and groundwater basins continue to be depleted, meaning we're in for a dry March.
Yeah, we're going to keep it coming. So what is still out there and what's next for wild weather? Here's Jonathan Novak.
David, Luda Bay folks, we actually had a report of a funnel cloud. This was earlier, an image from the Redlands. So yeah, activity got pretty intense with this storm system. Actually, we had two over the weekend into today. And as we go into the rest of the forecast, unfortunately, we're going to start calming things down. I mean, we don't need any of that, but we're going to be calming things down in regards to the rain, and that's unfortunate because we need more of it like we were just talking about right now. Still some spotty activity, very scattered in nature now, as it was over the weekend in through tonight, and it's going to remain that way tonight, and actually things are going to be tapering off. Right now, Big Bear, still some very light snow showing up there, and over to Wrightwood. You guys have been getting some nice amounts totaling up there over the mountains, and some light rain around Pasadena, and up to the west of that, some light rain around Santa Clarita and down toward Thousand Oaks. Over to the west and northwest, still very broken up activity and a few showers, a little bit heavier activity, even one little lightning strike there with a storm offshore. That will be moving through here and there on and off tonight. As we go into the evening, this will all be tapering off, and tomorrow things are going to be drier, my friends. But as we go through the extended forecast, the question is, do we have another system in store? I will tell you about that coming up in that 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Jonathan. We'll see you then.
Okay.
ISIS supporters have made threats against Twitter founder Jack Dorsey after the company shut down accounts promoting supporting the terrorist organization. In an anonymous post, supporters drew an illustration of Dorsey in crosshairs along with several death threats. The company says it's working to confirm whether the threats are serious. In the meantime, the battle between Iraqi forces and ISIS for a key city is underway. The Iraqi army, as well as Sunni and Shiite militiamen, launched a major offensive on Tikrit, which is controlled by ISIS militants. 60 ISIS militants have reportedly been killed. The city fell to ISIS last summer, along with Mosul and other areas. Retaking the city will help provide Iraqi forces with a major supply link for any future operations to recapture Mosul.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is in Washington, D.C. ahead of tomorrow's controversial speech to Congress. Netanyahu told a Jewish lobby group this morning that his speech is not intended to inject Israel into American political debate. He plans to urge Congress to delay an upcoming deadline in the nuclear talks with Iran. Critics claim the speech is an example of Netanyahu's strained ties with President Obama, but Netanyahu says his speech is not meant to slight the president.
My speech is not intended to show any disrespect to President Obama or the esteemed office that he holds. I have great respect for both.
The White House is upset at Netanyahu for giving the speech right before Israel's elections and at House Speaker John Boehner for arranging it without the president's blessing. More than 24 Democrats are skipping the speech, including Vice President Biden, who's on a trip to South America.
Well, it's a list most people can only dream of making. Forbes magazine's list of world's billionaires. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates keeps that top spot on the list, and he got richer. Forbes says he's now worth more than $79 billion, up from 76 last year. Number 2 is Mexican telecommunications mogul Carlos Slim Helú with a net worth of $77 billion. Investor Warren Buffett is third with $72.7 billion. Amancio Ortega, the Spanish co-founder of clothing retailer Zara, is fifth with $64.5 billion, and in fifth place is Oracle founder Larry Ellison with more than $54 billion. And new to this list, basketball legend Michael Jordan. Thanks to his ownership in the Charlotte Hornets and his Nike sponsorship, Forbes says Jordan has a net worth of $1 billion.
Well, up next, it's a brazen heist on a busy freeway. Thieves make off with more than $5 million in gold and silver from an armored truck. How they pulled it off.
Plus, a frightening skydiving moment caught on camera. The daredevil becomes unconscious moments after jumping from a plane. See what happens next.
And we're hearing from the man who invited these wayward llamas to his retirement home. And the update on how the animals are doing tonight. A brazen heist on the I-95 freeway in North Carolina. $4 million in gold gone after an armored truck pulled off the highway. ABC's Steve Osensami tells us what happened next.
Here's where police say it happened. A bold-faced robbery out on I-95 in North Carolina. 3 armed men held up a tractor trailer full of silver and gold Sunday evening, making off with nearly $5 million in gold bars. The security team from a Miami company called TransValue were on their way from South Florida to Attleboro, Massachusetts. Police say the team told them they had to pull over because of engine trouble and were confronted by the bandits in a white van. From police, the suspects ordered the victims to get down on the ground. It was reported that while on the ground, the suspects tied the victims' hands behind their backs and made them walk into the woods. But the company tells us that their drivers had guns too, raising questions. Moving valuables is dangerous work. Last month, 3 armed men, seen here in body armor, shot and killed a guard inside this Brink security truck in Houston.
These people need to be held accountable for their actions, and they need to be brought to justice.
The Florida security company isn't saying whose gold is lost, but is offering tonight a $50,000 reward for its safe return. Steve Osensami, ABC News, Atlanta.
Caught on camera, a skydiver suffers a seizure moments after jumping out of a plane in Australia. 22-year-old Christopher Jones made the jump from around 12,000 feet. Around 9,000 feet, he suddenly becomes unconscious from the seizure. For 30 seconds, he's spiraling out of control. Miraculously, his instructor reaches him at 4,000 feet, pulls the ripcord, releasing his parachute before Jones hits the ground.
Only on seeing the videos afterwards that I realized the severity of the situation, but I was just glad to be able to get to him stopping turning and making sure he had a parachute above his head.
I thought I was very lucky. Very lucky to be alive. I think I'll probably do a bit of bungee jumping for the time being. That seems to be more safe. I'm actually attached to something there.
Jones regained consciousness at 3,000 feet and was able to land safely. He has a mild form of epilepsy and was cleared to jump by his doctor.
An update now on those llamas that kicked up quite a fuss last week just outside Phoenix. You saw it here, 2 llamas who got spooked and led lots of people on a wild chase through Phoenix. The 2 runaways are back home and recovered. An 82-year-old man had asked friends to bring their show llamas to his retirement center. He got knocked down but isn't holding any grudges.
Anytime that I can get to come and work with them, I'd like to, because they're wonderful things. The llamas are absolutely super.
Falkenberg invited the llamas to his retirement community as therapy animals for fellow residents. Although it didn't go as planned, it was still successful since those residents are still talking about that visit.
Seriously, llamas are so cute and docile, and if you feed one a carrot, they're adorable.
They brighten up the neighborhood.
And they're great if you want to get in shape. Just let one go and just chase it for 3 days.
That lasso move off the truck was pretty impressive.
They're good for that too. If you want to practice lasso, you got running. There's just everything. Llamas are all in one package. All right, we can do it with weather, maybe.
Yeah,
right,
we can talk about weather.
We can do that. Sure. We have everything to talk about. So much stuff that's happened with the storm. We have hail. We had hail at the beach. And then we have a funnel cloud that we saw earlier. I'm going to show you the hail here in a second. But on top of it all, we have amazing images that come down through our time-lapse videos. Check this one out. I have it paused at the top. Check this out, guys. This is one of the best ones I have seen in some time. Look at this. It is like out of a movie.
Wow.
Fantastic.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff. We caught that just in time for you there as the sun was on its way out earlier on today. Wow. Love that stuff. Here is that hail that we saw. This is actually Palos Verdes, and this is about 1/4 to 1/2 inch hail. And that's not bad for Southern California at the beach. It's just unbelievable, actually. Live Megadoppler 7000 HD. We still have some rain to talk about. Not a lot, but it's out there. And even a little bit of snow showing up. The echoes over Big Bear, up toward Wrightwood, and a little bit of rain in between Mount Baldy and Crestline, and then down to the south around Pasadena, some light shower activity there for you, and off to the west of that towards Santa Clarita north, and then around Thousand Oaks, right there in between Thousand Oaks and Van Nuys, you're seeing a little bit of light rain as well. So nothing terribly heavy. We're not seeing a lot of heavy, big storms rolling through for tonight. We might see some of this slightly heavier activity move in from the coast through tomorrow morning in the early morning hours, but everything's really on the downtrend for the most part as this last impulse of energy, I won't say barrels through, but sort of rolls through Southern California. You can see it right here on the satellite and radar imagery. This is that last bit of energy, last impulse that's going to come on through for tonight, and that's going to bring that last sort of chance of rain for this evening that will taper off into the morning time. And then what happens after that? high pressure. We're back into the warm stuff. As we see here on Tuesday, that high will build in, and you know it's a high area high pressure. You see that arc right there in the atmosphere. That's a ridge of high pressure. This is now Thursday in the morning time, and we're still going to be under the gun Friday with temperatures getting up to around 80 in many spots by the end of the work week. So it's a warm one ahead, folks. We had some rain. Hey, we have 3 storm systems in the last week. Not bad when you put it all together. Good stuff. It's about over an inch in some isolated areas of rain here this weekend, but generally speaking, we got about a ½ inch to an inch in many spots. And tomorrow, no rain, just cool, 66. Sunny skies throughout, 80 by Friday and Saturday for your LA Metro and Orange County 7-day forecast. Now for the valleys and IE, you have a little bit of a chance for an isolated shower here in the morning, 20%. We'll taper it off. I'd say by the time the sun comes up in 72 on Wednesday into the 80s by Friday, Saturday. Plenty of sun to go around. No rain to talk about for the beaches. Just a few clouds tomorrow. Temperatures into the 70s by Friday, so fantastic weather. And the mountains really nice as you get through Thursday, Friday. Until then, a cold one tomorrow and a few morning snow showers still lingering. And then the high desert's dry. Temperatures into the 60s for Wednesday, Thursday, and a warm forecast from Friday into the weekend. Yes, good stuff from this point on, guys. We'll hope for another storm system maybe in the next Saturday. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan.
Yep.
Up next, a new plan to drown some drones in California.
Plus, how you could keep the town from a hit TV show alive, but do you have the cash?
And ahead at 7:30, how a tiny kitten almost killed a local man. The health alert straight ahead. Welcome back. Updating some breaking news now. Here's a look at a swiftwater rescue that took place in Glendale just moments ago. Authorities got a call at around 6:30 this evening about a woman stranded on an island in the LA River. Nearly an hour later, a rescue worker was lowered down into the river. The woman was then put in a harness and hoisted out of the basin. No word yet on injuries or what she was doing down there to begin with.
The airspace above schools would be off limits to drones under a new proposal introduced in the state legislature. The bill is one of several proposed laws that would regulate the use of unmanned aircraft across the state. Supporters of this bill say it would prevent someone from using drones to harass or stalk California's students.
We've got to define the role of the private citizen when it comes to drones and how they can be used, and then the role of government and those entities that are trying to protect us, and then in the middle of all that are constitutional rights.
If this bill passes, anyone who flies a drone over a public school would be forced to pay a fine.
Attention Walking Dead fans, the ultimate piece of memorabilia is now available on eBay. It's the whole town of Grantville, Georgia. That's where several episodes of the hit show were filmed. The city has since become a tourist destination. The going price is $680,000. That includes 9 downtown buildings. Several movies are scheduled to film in the town soon, including one with Tom Cruise.
Isn't that amazing? All those buildings for the price of an LA condo.
Yeah, exactly.
We're updating the evening's top stories next to 7:30.
Including frightening moments for a security guard when a gunfight breaks out at a local restaurant. What he's telling us tonight.
And what 18 security cameras captured during the shooting of one of Vladimir Putin's most vocal critics.
Live from ABC7, this is Eyewitness News at 7:30 p.m. on LA56.
Top story at 7:30. New surveillance video shows what led up to a fatal officer-involved shooting in LA's Skid Row. I'm David Ono.
I'm Rutabaga Shabazi in for Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News on LA56, LA's only live local newscast at 7 p.m. LA Police Chief Charlie Beck says the man killed on Skid Row was reaching for an officer's gun, but several witnesses who live on Skid Row say officers overreacted. 2 of the officers were wearing body cameras, which will now be reviewed by investigators. LA's mayor mayor is promising an extensive investigation.
It's been a stormy couple of days, including a beach hailstorm today. It's how it looked in Huntington Beach this morning. Take a look at the view from Air 7. The beach itself covered in hail. It wasn't quite enough for the hail ball fight, though some folks gave it a try. One kid even got to work building a hail man, though a short time later the sun came out and melted all the hail away.
A teacher's suicide on campus has shaken students and staff at El Dorado High School in Placentia. Students found her hanging in her classroom this morning. Students were sent home early, many sobbing and in shock. Eyewitness News reporter Sid Garcia spoke with those who knew Jillian Jacobson.
The teacher committed suicide in the classroom.
Students and a teacher discovered Jillian Jacobson hanging in her classroom this morning at El Dorado High School. Placentia police say students in her first period photography class were waiting outside her locked classroom to go in. The classroom is normally open. Police say students went to look for another teacher to unlock the door. That was around 8:30 this morning.
They went and retrieved a nearby teacher to open the door. That teacher opened the door, and that's when the victim was discovered in the classroom.
News of what happened spread quickly. Students were sent home early. Parents were notified to come pick them up.
It was kind of sad, depressing. Everyone's crying. It's kind of like shocking.
I saw some kids who were sobbing, and I didn't have her, but I couldn't help but cry with them. You know, I gave some people some hugs and let them know that I know it's tough and that we can get through it.
Patricia Gibbs worked with Mrs. Jacobson.
Mrs. Jacobson was always in a great mood. Every time I saw her on campus, anytime I had to work in a classroom with her, she was just always spot on, just, you know, never gave any indication at all that she was having any problems, personal or otherwise.
Crisis counselors were immediately brought in to help everyone deal with this morning's tragedy.
Our crisis counselors work very carefully to help restore normalness to a student's day. Getting back to their normal patterns of school is usually very helpful.
And school will resume tomorrow morning as normal. Crisis counselors will be available for everyone on campus who needs them. In Placentia, I'm Sid Garcia, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Nearly a year after the crash that claimed the life of an LAPD officer, charges are filed against the driver of the truck involved. Roberto Maldonado was charged with vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence. Investigators say he was behind the wheel of a large truck that slammed into Nicholas Lee's police cruiser in Beverly Hills. Lee was killed instantly and his partner was injured. Maldonado is being held on $50,000 bail.
A dispute turns deadly at a Santa Ana restaurant when gunfire erupts. A security guard who didn't want to be identified describes the nightmare that unfolded.
I go to the bathroom and there was two sets of people with guns and they were pointing them at each other, you know what I mean? And I was like, you know, and the other security guard was like, let's get out of here.
The man speaking was one of two security guards on duty when a violent gunfight broke out inside the El Zocalo Steakhouse in Santa Ana, and one person died. 4 others were hospitalized, including 2 suspects. The security guard says he initially tried to get away, but when he couldn't, he used his mixed martial arts.
When he was close to me, then I engaged, you know what I mean? I saw the gun, I wrapped my arm around the gun, you know what I mean? I went 2-on-1 and took the gun.
Once the gun was removed, others in the restaurant helped detain the suspect until police arrived.
President Obama is assembling a task force looking into recent police shootings nationwide. The task force made dozens of recommendations after holding several public hearings. It found the need for more police training to reduce bias and help officers deal with stressful situations. The panel also met with civil rights groups. President Obama says the deaths of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, and Eric Garner in New York City show a need for law enforcement to change its practices.
It will be good for police, and it will be good for the communities involved, and as a consequence, it will be good for the country.
Meantime, the Department of Justice is finishing its investigation into the Ferguson shooting. The police department is accused of discrimination, which fueled protests across the country last summer. The report is due out later this week.
In Egypt, a car blast killed 1 person and injured 10 others. The bomb was hidden under a parked car near a courthouse in Cairo. At the time, the area was very crowded with street vendors. Police cordoned off the area and were able to dismantle a second bomb before it went off. A group calling itself Revolutionary Punishment claimed responsibility for the attack, saying they targeted a police checkpoint. New clues tonight in that murder mystery in Russia. One of Russian President Vladimir Putin's most vocal critics gunned down just steps from the Kremlin. At least 18 security cameras nearby. So what did they reveal? ABC's Hamish McDonald shows us.
The security camera captures the final moments of Boris Nemtsov's life. He's circled in the distance, but the crucial seconds are obscured by a street cleaning vehicle. When the deed is done, the gunman appears again, jumping into a getaway car. But the obscured image isn't the only stroke of luck for the gunman, who killed in front of at least 18 more cameras.
This must be one of the most watched locations in all of Moscow. There are security cameras everywhere. As you look along the Kremlin wall, I can count 6, 7, perhaps even 8 cameras, all in this immediate vicinity. But remarkably, Russian authorities have told us that not a single one of the cameras lining the Kremlin wall captured the moment that Boris Nemtsov was killed.
Nemtsov was walking home from dinner with his Ukrainian model girlfriend, Anna Duretskaya. She claims she saw nothing. The gunman came from behind.
President Putin is himself now in charge of this investigation, but there are still many here who believe the full story behind this murder is unlikely ever to be revealed. Hamish McDonald, ABC News, Moscow.
Up next, a health alert, your cat's deadly secret.
Plus, moms carrying their guns and their babies at the same time. And now the class that aims to make it safer for mother and child. An unusual mothering class in Des Moines, Iowa, where new moms learn to carry their babies and their guns at the same time. Melanie Lauer came up with the idea. She was working 2 jobs, one at a gun store and another at a parenting center, when she got the idea to combine the two. And now she teaches a class on how to safely carry a baby and a concealed weapon.
Baby on one side, it's best to have gun on the other side. We have seen a huge insurgence in young mothers of young children wanting to get into firearms. And what's happening is we don't have instructors that are addressing their needs. So they just do it, they don't do it right, and then they end up having an accident.
Well, she says she is not encouraging moms to carry guns, but trying to make sure if they do carry one, they do it safely.
A local man wants to share his story in the hopes that it will help prevent problems for other people with pets. It involves a family's beloved cat and a potentially dangerous disease that can sometimes be passed on to the humans they live with. Health specialist Denise Sador takes a look.
Seeing pictures of his once cherished kitten, Toby, still makes Richard Houston smile.
It's the gray hair. That had nothing to do with my falling in love with Toby.
One evening, Toby did what kittens do.
Cat got a little frisky and he bit me on the arm and he scratched me, but it didn't draw any blood, so I didn't think about it.
The next night, Richard felt weak. He couldn't breathe. He wanted to wait to see his doctor the next day, but his wife Ann insisted they go to the ER. Upon arriving at USC Verdugo Hills Hospital, Richard's body went into septic shock.
You're moments away from dying, and if you're not seen in an emergency department quickly and the problem is addressed quickly, you can die.
Ann's quick thinking saved her husband's life. But what caused such a severe infection? Doctors were stumped until Ann recalled the cat bite.
It was an oh, by the way, Richard was bitten by our kitten.
Lab results confirmed Richard was infected by a common bacteria many cats and other pets carry in their saliva. Dr. Armand Dorian says it's called Sphingomonas.
This particular bacteria is found everywhere. It's in the soil, it's in plants, it's literally everywhere.
Most people with pets have probably been exposed to it, but what made Sphingomonas dangerous to Richard is he doesn't have a spleen. It was removed during cancer treatment. Dr. Dorian says people with compromised immune systems must always be vigilant.
Any infection can be life-threatening, even one that's so rare that doesn't usually cause an infection. In this particular person, could have been the cause of his death.
Richard wishes the shelter Toby came from would have warned him about these risks. As for Toby the cat, Ann took to Facebook to find him a loving home. The Houstons want other animal lovers with compromised immune systems to be informed.
We don't think people need to go out and get rid of their animals, but they need to be warned that if there's a bite, they need to seek help right away.
Richard is doing fine now, but it took months for him to return to work. He hopes that shelters will ask people if anyone in the home is immunocompromised as part of the pet adoption process. Denise Sador, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Is our wild weather finally over for now? Jonathan's forecast is up next.
Plus, boldly going where no one has gone before after an 8-year journey, a historic achievement for NASA.
And a girls' basketball team season is over because they had to forfeit a victory due to the uniforms they wore.
2, 1.
A light show in the skies over Florida. A SpaceX rocket blasted off from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. The rocket was carrying a pair of commercial communication satellites. 35 minutes after the launch, the satellites were successfully deployed.
NASA is working once again to make history, hoping its spacecraft becomes one of the first to reach a dwarf planet between Mars and Jupiter. This is the first mission to use ion engines and the first to target two different celestial objects to better understand how the solar system evolved, allowing us to see whole new worlds for the very first time.
The NASA spacecraft is about to reach the end of a nearly 8-year, 3 billion-mile journey and make the first contact with a dwarf planet.
Every time we visit a new object, be it a planet or a satellite, we are always surprised.
The spacecraft, Dawn, will slip into orbit Friday around Ceres, a planet the size of Texas and the largest object in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter.
Dawn really refers to what the mission is all about, and that is going back in time, visiting the basic remnants of objects that come together to form our planets.
Launched in 2007, Dawn made the first stop of its journey at the asteroid Vesta, beaming back 30,000 images before heading to its final destination. It started to approach Ceres in December and last month snapped pictures of the dwarf planet that revealed two mysterious spots inside a crater.
The team is really excited about this feature because it is unique in the solar system.
Dawn will get as close as 235 miles above Ceres' surface, studying the dwarf planet for 16 months and could remain in orbit for hundreds of years.
And one of the prime motivations of the Dawn mission is to examine these building blocks of the planets, Vesta and Ceres, which are two intact protoplanets from the very dawn of the solar system.
And scientists will get a glimpse of another icy dwarf planet this summer when the New Horizons spacecraft arrives at Pluto, which was once considered the ninth planet and then demoted to a dwarf planet in 2006.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, I was bummed to hear that. That's what we learned about in school.
I heard it's not as icy there as in Boston these days.
But that's why it got downgraded, because they said, you see, Boston, there's no way that we can consider that a planet, a cold planet. It's unbelievable, the stuff that's gone on the East Coast. We had a little taste of it this weekend. Ourselves. Yeah, we had some snow, 5 to 10 inches in the mountain areas of snow. Some isolated spots up in the highest elevations got more than that. Rainfall totals, the last 24 hours, about almost 1.25 inches Santa Monica. Saugus, 0.71. Fillmore, about 3/4. In Beaumont, 1/2 inch of rain. And then we had some stormy activity bubbling up over the mountains and some stormy activity at the coast. We had some hail. Down at Huntington Beach, we had funnel cloud. I mean, it was just mixed bag of stuff with these last two storms. But overall, the nature of the activity, the shower activity, has been very broken up, scattered. It's not like we had a huge shield of rain at any point, although we did have a few good clusters roll through. Tonight, it's sort of that situation, just very spotty activity. Big Bear, seeing some light snow still. Wrightwood, same for you. And then you see the green right there just north of Pasadena. Over toward just south of Mount Baldy, we've got delivered of rain showing up, and then over toward Thousand Oaks, too. And this is all going to kind of taper off tonight. A little bit of that rain still to the west of us. So this is the last push, the last system overnight we'll see come through the area, and so we can expect a few more hit-and-miss areas of rain. Satellite radar shows that. What I was just talking about, that little area of low pressure, the last one rounding this trough of low pressure. It's going to swing through tonight, and we're going to see things tomorrow dry out. The weather is going to be beautiful for your Tuesday and Wednesday. In fact, it looks like, as you'll see here in the future scan, the rest of the week, just beautiful. So I'll take you through Tuesday. Watch what happens just to the west of us. A ridge of high pressure starts building in. Wednesday moves over the western portion of the country. And then Thursday, Friday, our temperatures are going to be around 80 degrees because that ridge is right over California. And temperatures will be above average, it looks like, through the weekend. So, yeah, you're asking, is there any more rain for next weekend? No. We got a weekend that looks like it's going to be sunny, warm, beautiful, nice. All those adjectives for your 7-day forecast in LA Metro and Orange County. Powered up by AccuWeather. 70s Wednesday and Thursday, already back above average, and then 80 degrees for a couple days, and then Sunday's looking nice too. Valleys, IE, have a slim chance in the morning time of a isolated shower. Temperatures topping out around 65, and then warm from, I'd say, Thursday on. Mid-70s up to about 81, 80, Friday and Saturday. Beaches, Nice. Morning clouds, partly cloudy in the afternoon, and then just a nice mild day for you tomorrow and into the rest of the forecast. It's looking warm. The mountains, you might still have a little bit of snow in the morning. 35 for a high. Bundle up. 42 on Wednesday is cool, and then nice and mild Friday on through the weekend. You're nearing 60 by Saturday. Check out the high desert for you. 58, a little breezy, a few clouds tomorrow afternoon, but it's going to be very dry and nice, and then just beautiful weather from Friday on into the weekend. So the last 2 weekends, guys, been a little wet. This one, though, going to have to yourself to keep your plans out there. More weather with Dallas on ABC7 at 11.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Okay, back to you.
The high school basketball playoffs are well underway. The Narbonne girls team thought that they had won their semifinal game against View Park on Saturday, but today they found out they didn't because it was ruled that they had worn illegal uniforms. Kurt Sandoval reports from Harbor City.
The top-seeded Narbonne girls basketball team expected to be practicing today, not defending why they should be allowed to play in Saturday's championship.
I kind of thought it was maybe just a joke at one point in time until all the teammates started to say, "Oh no, this is serious." So it was just very, very shocking to us.
The shocker was learning they were disqualified for wearing pink trim on their numbers in support of breast cancer awareness. The CIF said, quote, "Uniform colors may only be a combination of the official school colors. Pink is not an official school color at Narbonne, and penalties will include probation and forfeit of contest."
The punishment didn't fit the crime, you know. We felt like we really didn't know. We had no idea, and if we'd had some type of warning, we would have never came on the court with those uniforms. So we had no idea.
The parents we talked to are convinced it's not about pink, but rather the past.
We've had issues with CIF City before, with the trip going to Arizona in 2013 where they did not want us to go. However, we forced their hand and made us go by seeking out a staff writer with the Times.
Coach Victoria Sanders was unable to talk to us today because the school is now appealing this decision in hopes of still being able to play in the CIF championship game this weekend. Until then, this team with 6 seniors is trying to process how an honest mistake got them disqualified.
We know that if we pray right now and have our faith, anything is possible at this moment. So we're just sticking it out and just being supportive of our coach and our parents and, you know, getting all the support we can take in.
Playing Saturday would be an answer to those prayers. Kurt Sandoval, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
February was Breast Cancer Awareness Month for college basketball. The girls said that they were just doing what their role models in college do.
A latte artist from Orange County is savoring her victory at the U.S. Coffee Championships. She's the best in the country, and Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes takes us to see her stunning creations in Buena Park.
They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but in Angie Chun's case, it ends up in the mouth of the imbiber.
People like the peacocks and hearts.
Chun works at the Coffee Code Espresso Bars in Fullerton and Buena Park, where she literally pours her heart into her work. The 30-year-old is so good at topping off her fancy coffees that she's been crowned America's Best Latte Artist, winning the national title at last month's U.S. Coffee Championships in Long Beach.
Usually people just make a heart, you know, leaves. Those are kind of so simple. So I wanted to make something different.
Apparently, latte artistry is genetic. Chun's older sister won a latte art championship a few years ago, and her younger brother William came in third in the country in that Long Beach competition.
I think I have good, artistic hands.
But it'll be Angie who's heading to Sweden, a possible world championship brewing, when she heads to the big competition this June.
Only one person can participate from each country, and then we're going to compete for 3 days. So that'll be even much harder than U.S. Championship.
But with just 3 months to go before the World Championship, Angie says she needs to really knuckle down and get more practice, which shouldn't be a problem working here.
I make about 200 cups a day.
That's a latte of experience to draw from, and a lot of coffee to draw on. In Fullerton, Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Tastes very newsy.
Whatever that means, but that was clever. More news straight ahead here at 7:30.
And tonight on Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7, a 14-year-old honor student is fighting for his life. Tonight, the search for the hit-and-run driver who almost killed him. And we're learning more about the war ISIS has launched against the employees of Twitter who noticed ISIS was tweeting to recruit members and pulled the plug. These stories and all the late-breaking news on Southern California's #1 late newscast, Eyewitness News at 11 on ABC7.
Tony Stark has nothing on these guys. This, a real-life Iron Man suit being designed by the U.S. military. It'll be worn by elite members of the military like Navy SEALs and Green Berets. The suit has full-body armor, a helmet with sensors and displays, and motorized skeleton to carry heavy loads. The first prototype will be delivered in 2018.
Well, thanks for joining us for Eyewitness News at 7:30 on LA56.
Have a good night.
This is ABC7 weather.
Hey folks, Jonathan Novak here. The rain has come and it has gone. That last push of energy moved through the atmosphere and the rain went along with it. And we're looking for a nice afternoon today. Temperatures are going to be warming up big time later in the forecast. Let me show you here in the future scan how the atmosphere is going to change over the next couple of days. That big trough of low pressure where we saw those systems roll through over the weekend into Monday. That's moved to the east, and in its place, high pressure is building in. This is Wednesday. Now into Thursday. By Thursday and Friday, high pressure is right over California. What does that mean? It means temperatures getting up to about 80 degrees in your 7-day forecast for LA Metro and Orange County by Thursday, and into Friday, and into Saturday. In the meantime, today,